Are you ready? The Cornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Cornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Cornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you today. I'm really excited about this topic that we're going to cover today, and the guest I'm going to introduce you to. Dr. Q is here, and he is the world traveler. Where in the world are you currently right now, Dr. Q?
I am at a beautiful hotel in Vienna, Austria, overlooking the Danube. Well, it's dark now already because I think I'm 9 hours ahead of you, but I'm in Vienna, Austria at the moment, yes.
Wow.
So good evening from me to you.
Pardon me?
So good evening from me to you, Cornelia. It's an honor to be on your show. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I want to introduce you to the audience, give a little background about your journey. So you were born to an Austrian Catholic mother and a Persian Baha'i father.
Yes.
You spent your childhood in Iran,
Yes.
an Islamic country. Your family had to flee to Iran for Austria in 1979 due to the Islamic Revolution. Not fleeing would have meant certain execution for your father, if
Yes.
not the entire family. And as a child, you already realized that nothing in life was ever certain. Life meant constant change, overcoming challenges, and adapting to new situations. You battled with cancer from the age of 16 through 19 while living in Austria. Having survived cancer at such an early stage in your life opened up your mind and soul for spirituality, everything that cannot be seen with one's eyes, a journey that you have been on ever since. Even though you pursued a regular academic training and career, your PhD, and founding a successful tour operator business in the US, you continue to deepen your spiritual knowledge. Eventually, you started to share your experiences and knowledge with others, and you became a mentor to others. In 2013, you ended up in the ICU as a virus had attacked your body and caused major damage to your heart and lungs. You were once again lucky to survive. This experience caused you to seek your palm leaf reading, as you were told by a sisterly best friend, Ms. Boda, that a reading could clean up one's karma. The reading was a profound and life changing experience. And you were told during your reading that you will bring Nadi astrology to the West, which you dismissed as you are not an Indian and you had nothing to do with India apart from practicing meditation daily, practicing yoga for 25 years, and loving spicy Indian food.
Yes.
Yet the prediction has come true as you are now traveling the world talking about palm leaf readings. You're going to tell us the difference later, palm reading or palm leaf reading, which there is a difference.
Huge difference.
But more about the Nadi reading info. This modality 3,000 years ago, enlightened sages through the help of Lord Shiva gained the power of clairvoyance. These Maharishis used their divine powers to look into the future and predict the lives of millions of people. Their insights were put down on dried palm leaves. Your palm leaf was written specifically for you to answer your most important questions about your life: karma, obstacles, children, destiny, partnership, career, and health. Your institute was founded so that people could search for their leaf without having to travel to India. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Cornelia. Very kind of you. Wow, when I listen to this, I get goosebumps myself. Holy moly. Yeah, indeed. Let's start with my viral infection that I had almost 10 years ago. And it was indeed Emisha who saved my life. I was dating her at the time. She's become my best friend since. We're not together anymore, but we run this institute together. And I was visiting her in Budapest at the time, and I had the chills, fever. And she said, Q, I don't know, but maybe you should go back to Vienna. You need to know, geographically speaking, Budapest and Vienna are about 3 hours apart, like New York and Washington, D.C., give or take, same distance. But they're worlds apart, really. One of them is a very developed country, and the other one is regrettably not so developed. And so I hopped on a train in the morning, went back to Vienna to my cancer hospital, because I have a bit of a VIP status there, if you wish, because I survived cancer. I was a kid, and those that are still there, still working there, because that's 30 years ago now, they, like, oh, Q, welcome back. Happy to have you. And I can cut the lines. I know one shouldn't do that, but it's just the way it is, surviving cancer, having stayed there 6 months in 3 years, from 16 to 19, I was an inpatient for 6 months, which is a very long time. And I survived. And that's the reason why my cancer doctor, who was at the time the chief of the department, we became best friends too. And so I go there when I have an issue, a health issue, because once you have cancer, you always have to be very careful. Your immune system is impacted by all the cancer treatment, and my immune system for sure is impacted big time, so I got to be very careful. And since I didn't feel so well, I went there, and they said, oh, Q, welcome back. What's going on? I said, I don't know what's going on, but I don't feel so good. So can you check me out? And they did. And I thought it's nothing major. And they said, you can go and visit your mom if you want to, and we're going to call you back. And as I was on the metro going to visit my mom, because my mom's still alive and she lives in Vienna, and that's one of the reasons why I'm in Vienna now too. They called me back and said, Dr. Moayad, come back right away. You must come back right away. He said, oh my God. So I turned around, came back, and the head of department of cardiology called me in and said, Dr. Moayad, you're extremely sick. You have to stay here now, and we need to do more tests. And I said, well, really? I don't feel that bad. I have a bit of a fever, that's true, and I got chills, that's true too, but I'm not that bad. He said, no, you're not listening to me. I said, you're extremely sick. That your life is a miracle. You stay here now, and we need to figure out what's going on. So I stayed there, and I was very lucky because that night, already in the hospital, I collapsed. My fever went to 42, 43 degrees Celsius, which is, don't shoot me now, I forgot, it's 107 or something in Fahrenheit. It's extremely high. You're in a delirious state, basically. You don't know whether it's day or night. You sweat profusely, and it's life-threatening. It is, for sure. And it became so bad that they shoved me into the ICU. And that is when I was in the ICU. Emma visited me, of course. She came from Budapest over, visited me several times, actually. And then she said, Q, you should do a palm leaf reading. And I said, what is that? She knows that I'm very open to spiritual things, and I've done many, 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 many spiritual things throughout my life. I spent a long time with shamans in the Amazon, visited John of God several times in Brazil, you name it, I've done it all. I said, wow, cool, for sure. And so I told myself in my head, I said, if I survive, if I come out, then I'll go on a search and see if there is a palm leaf written for me. And you need to know that afterwards, I learned that, because while I was there, I did not know that. But my mom told me, the physician said, there is not much medication they can give you. Either you survive or not. That's just all there is to it. And I did. So, and it has been a very long, painful recovery ever since, because I developed, due to the long time in hospital, as a side effect, very few people get that, is fasciitis, which means your fasciae dry up, which means you cannot move at all. It's like extremely painful to move. And you've got fascia, your entire body, all over your body. I don't know if people know what fascias are, but it's like a net around your muscles and your bones. And in between, there is some sort of a lubrication that makes your muscles move, easy like that. But if they get stuck, then you cannot move at all. And if you get moved forcefully, it's extremely painful because you cannot move at all. And it took me, and I tell you, I could not move. Literally, I could not even lift my arm. It took me 5 years, give or take, 1,000 hours of very painful therapies, myofascial therapy. Maybe you've heard of that, where they crack open your fasciae. And I'm very lucky too, because my brother is an orthopedic surgeon. He saved me in many ways too. He said, brother, he said, either we somehow figure out how to crack open your fasciae, otherwise every single one needs to be cut open, split open, and you'll have scars all over your body, and it's not a good thing at all. So that is what motivated me to get back to where I'm now. And I'm very happy to say that I'm pretty fit. I can move again. I can swim. I can run. I can do almost everything. Not at the same level as I used to, but I'm here and I can work. So all is good. I survived, and then next thing I did, as soon as I could fly again, I went on a search for a palm leaf, and the rest is history. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here talking with you. It was a mind-blowing experience, and believe me, I don't easily say mind-blowing because I've done a lot of things. Really, I have, because the cancer thing that happened to me when I was a kid, a teenager, really opened my eyes toward spirituality. Period. As when you're a kid and you're being diagnosed with cancer, you're like, God, why me? I mean, because I didn't do anything bad yet. I was just a kid. And then you end up in hospital, and 3 years is a long time. 6 months in hospital is also a very long time. And I saw people die. I really did. So I told myself, how come this poor soul died and I did not? When I was released from hospital saying that I'm in remission and God willing, I will never have to come back, I also said, God, why me? So how come I survived and all these other poor souls did not? And that is what really prompted me to look deeper into the rabbit hole. And the deeper you go into the rabbit hole, as I'm sure, Cornelia, you know yourself, the deeper it gets. I mean, it never stops. It never stops. It gets more complex every inch you move forward. So, and that is, I would say, the ultimate reason why I'm here, because I always pushed and I always want to try and figure out what's beyond the veil that I cannot see, and I try to pierce it as best as I can. Am I any wiser today? I don't know, but do I have experiences? Yes, I can for sure say that I have experiences. And so by saying that the reading blew my mind is I truly mean it, because I didn't expect anything like that at all. In my reading, I was told by an Indian guy who has no clue who I am. And by the way, folks that cannot see me, only hear me, I'm a white guy, period. I'm not an Indian. I have no Indian connections whatsoever. And all I wanted from that reading is to get healing, because I figured out in the ICU, I remember that too, given all the stresses and struggles that I've gone through my life, that somehow it has to do with karma. That was the only logical explanation for me, that why am I in hospital more than most people. So I thought it has to do with karma. And then when I connected the dots and I heard that you can get your karma cleaned through a reading, that is why I ended up getting a reading ultimately. But I got so much more than just talk about my karma. And the one thing that, of course, changed my life is when the reader, who has no clue who I am, one more time, he has no clue who I am, he said, well, and by the way, you're going to bring this to the West. And I really thought he's just joking with me, because I had no intentions whatsoever to get any deeper into this. All I wanted is to learn more about myself and understand what is going on out there. So sorry, I'm in a hotel room and the light just went off. I hope you can still see me.
We can see you, but the background is dark. But you're visible. We can see you.
Okay. Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. It's crazy.
It's fine.
So so a reading, we should maybe talk about a reading too. First of all, people need to know about 3,000 years ago, give or take, because there is no written record of any of this. It's been passed on through word of mouth. About 3,000 years ago, so-called Maharishis. Maharishi means great sage. Maharishis lived in the southernmost part of India, in a state that is now known as Tamil Nadu. At that time, there was no India, period. It only became India later. So in that region that is now the southernmost part of India, Tamil Nadu, where people speak Tamil, and they don't understand, speak, or communicate in Hindi, because most of the rest of India, as the one common language they have, is Hindi. Tamils don't. They're like very staunch Tamils, and they try to preserve their culture and heritage as best as they can. And they're very proud to say that this is the original India. The rest came later. So Tamils, there are about 85 million Tamils living in that one state alone. So that's twice the size of California, just to give you an idea how big it is. And they speak Tamil. And so these leaves are written by Maharishis. God knows how many Maharishis there were. I would guesstimate a few hundred. But 18 of those hundreds of Maharishis we deem as the main Maharishis. And I took the liberty of, because I have to travel to India all the time, obviously, because I have an office in India. So I brought a little poster that I bought at one of the temples where the hub of all of this is. And you can see 18. Oh, that's so, okay, there it goes. So you can see 18 of them. And the guy in the center, the guy with the pot belly, his name is Agastyar. He's the #1 Maharishi of them all because he wrote the most leaves. And he was also a scholar, a poet, a scientist, an amazing human being, way more evolved than any of us, certainly me. So they lived more or less at the same time. And what they did is they, through meditation, primarily through Lord Shiva, because again, first of all, you need to know it has nothing to do with religion per se. But 3,000 years ago, all they knew was Hinduism. Hence, it is connected to Hinduism. But on a deeper level, has nothing to do with Hinduism, really. So they connected to Lord Shiva because that's what they knew of. And through the help of Lord Shiva, they connected with the universe. And now, because I've done it for so many years, I would say they connected to the Akashic records. And then they downloaded the information from the Akashic records onto palm leaves. And they did so etherically, if you wish. They dictated it to their disciples, and these disciples then etched the information on palm leaves. Fresh palm leaves, it is, because at the time there was no paper. So to the Indians in southern India, what we have in abundance are palm trees. So what they did is they climbed up, cut these big trees, leaves, and then those big leaves were then cut into smaller pieces of about, give or take, 10, 15 inches long, give or take inch or two wide. They're not standardized. So some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, some of them are wider. And then these leaves are kept in books. We call this a book or a bundle. For those of you who cannot see it, there are like about 40, 50 individual dried leaves in a book. Top and bottom are made out of wood. Perfect way of preserving information. They used what nature had to offer. And then they would tie them together. That is how they can keep them safe. And then these bundles are stored in archives all over southern India. But now, because of migration of people, you can find these bundles all over India, also in Delhi and Mumbai and so forth. But the hub is the state of Tamil Nadu. The central parts of that big state is where everything happens. Legend has it that it all goes back to the temple in Vaitish Barankoil, which is a small town today. I don't know, 20, 30, 50,000 people live there. And there is a famous temple. And that is apparently where most of the rishis lived and were able to connect to the Akashic records. And the way they etch the information is by cutting down these leaves into smaller pieces. It's a fresh leaf, right? And there was also no pencil or pen at the time either. So what they did is they used a sharp tool and etched the information onto a fresh leaf. And when it dries up, that leaf, the writing comes through. And that is how these leaves survived thousands of years. And an actual dried leaf can survive a few hundred years, 200, 300, 400 years maybe, before it gets too brittle and just, cracks up and you need to throw it away. So what they did is priests copy them over to new leaves every few hundred years, just like monks used to do in Europe. Similar process, I would say. And for those of you who get to see this on a video, I open up the bundle now and you see these dried leaves. They're all written in ancient Tamil language. That language doesn't exist anymore, called ancient Tamil. And by the way, this is a mock-up. An original one I cannot take out of India. One should not take out of India because that's a national heritage. But because I travel so much and go to many expos and show it to people, I copy them so they're made out of plastic, this one that I show you. But nonetheless, it's an exact copy of a real bundle and real leaves. And in order to compress so much information onto these leaves, you need to be aware of a few things. First of all, it's a dead language that doesn't exist anymore called ancient Tamil or Grantha. And Tamils are very proud to say that probably it is the oldest written language in the world, even older than Sanskrit. So these two always compete. And me being Persian, or at least half Persian, I step in and say, well, you know, there's some people that say that ancient Persian is maybe the oldest language. So it's among the 5 oldest languages, written languages in the world's history. So that's ancient Tamil. 2, these leaves are not written in prose. That would be fantastic if it were, but it's written in a poetic form, in a sing-song. And the way that it's delivered to you by the reader, a reader is a person who can find the leaf for you and then give you the information, is delivered to you in a sing-song, like a mantra, a chant. And the way, because they're being trained to do so, now we'll talk about the education of a reader too, is to the way they convey the information to you already carries healing faculties as you receive the information. The way the pronunciation, the sing-song, and so forth. So it's written in a dead language. It's written like in a poetic way. Then, of course, it's written in a symbolic way. That's the only way to compress so much information onto such a small leaf that's just 10 to 15 inches long, maybe about an inch or 2 wide. Hence, you cannot just say, oh, I'm going to look for mine and read it, because you need to find a person who's educated in doing so. And a real reader takes about 5 to 7 years to become a reader. There are many readers out there in India, and even though I'm a big India lover, I regrettably have to also say that many of them are fake. They get like a 6 months training or so, and they would sell you anything for a quick buck. So one needs to be very careful who you seek advice from, the reader. And so it wasn't quite easy. It wasn't easy as you can imagine for me to set it all up, which we'll get to that too as well at some point. So a reader takes 5 to 7 years, and a reader needs to learn a lot of different things. First of all, he needs to learn ancient Tamil, which doesn't exist anymore. It's kind of like ancient Greek and modern Greek. A modern Greek person cannot read, write, or understand ancient Greek, but it roots in ancient Greek. 2, he needs to understand all the symbols so he can unlock it and give the information to us. Thirdly, it's based on Vedic astrology. By the way, Vedic astrology is just a modern term that came into the West in the 70s because it was a great marketing thing to call it Vedic. In reality, this Indian astrology or Hindu astrology is the same, but they use it because at the time Ayurveda became hip in the West, and so they thought if we call it Vedic astrology, maybe more people will get the reading. So it's based on Vedic astrology, or Vedic astrology has an impact on your reading big time. It's symbol, it's a dead language. And last but not least, what we all need to understand too, what an amazing experience that is. Both ancient Tamil and modern Tamil are syllabic languages. Unlike all Western languages, English, German, French, Spanish, they are letter-based. Persian too, letter-based, A, B, C, D. Tamil is not. Similar to Chinese Mandarin. So there are sounds. And the sounds can have different meaning, many different letters in our case, English. So A, E, I, O, or U is one sound in Tamil. G, J, K, L, M, or N is another sound in Tamil. So it's quite an experience to observe as the reader goes deeper and deeper and then finds ultimately your leaf. So now that we laid out the basics of it, let's go through the process. Process of getting your reading done is the same as it was 3,000 years ago. First step is the search for the bundle. I just showed you the bundle. That's the bundle or book. So you got to first find the bundle that hopefully contains your individual palm leaf. Once the reader has found the bundle, he then will do a matching, which means matching the leaf in a bundle to you. We'll get to that point. That's the wow factor for people. And then thirdly will be the actual reading. So search, matching, and reading. Search, a real reader, all a reader would need from you is your thumbprint. Ladies, left, gents, right thumbprint. It has to do with Hinduism, left representing female, right representing male. So you would submit your thumbprint, and then the reader would look at your thumbprint, and that's already something that he also needs to learn, is to interpret your thumb impression and find your thumbprint category name. There are 108 different category names to each and every thumbprint. And once he identifies your thumbprint category name, knowing your gender too, he will then go on a search. And he will go from one archive to the next to the next. It's a physical act. There is no computer, there is no registry of any kind, but there are hundreds, maybe thousands of archives. Because when you think of an archive, a Western person in general, we think of security guards, water dispenser, I don't know, air condition, and so forth. Boy, we're in India, far from it. Basically, And truth to be spoken, these are little back rooms, holes in the wall, if you wish, dusty, not very organized. That is an archive, and we got hundreds, if not thousands, of them all over India, and there is no registry, so there is no like easy way to do it. But what they all have in common is on the outside, you have either a number or a symbol or something similar to that. So in this case, it says number 22 on this one. The 22, and each reader has their own system too. So each archive holder has their own system as well. So the reader will then go from one archive to the next, literally walk, hop on his bicycle, moped, or if he has to go further away, public transportation, bus. That's how the reality of it is. Hence, it takes quite a while. It takes several weeks, maybe a couple months. I do not know. It takes a while. We as an institute will look up to 6 months for a person to find bundles. The average search time, give or take, 6 to 12 weeks, just to keep it simple. Can it be that it's one day? Of course, it can be just one day. Has it happened before? Yes. But is it likely? No. Does it take 6 months? Not really. Has it happened before? Yes. So the average search time, I would say 6 to 12 weeks, where the reader then pulls out a bundle or two where he believes, and again, that's his divine gift that he has, because we're talking tens of thousands of bundles, maybe hundreds of thousands of bundles, real ones, because they're fake ones too, real ones. And within each one of these bundles, we have anywhere from 20 to 108 individual leaves. So there are millions of leaves out there. And then he goes to these archives and at some point says, okay, I think in this one could be Cornelius. And pulls it out. And with that, the search comes to an end. He will bring it back to the office, and then he will call you. Let's say you live in India, we'll call you today and say, if you were in today's setting, and say, Cornelia, I found bundles for you, come to the office. Then you will go to the office, and then you would sit across from the reader in the office, which is more or less like a hole in the wall, to be honest with you. It's very cramped, it's small. I don't know if you've been to India or not, but India is a very different universe altogether. Not easy for many Western people to cope with. And certainly for me, neither. As I was in his office, they use a lot of incense. And because of chemotherapy, I'm extremely sensitive to scent, extremely, you have no idea. I get migraines right away. And in his office, he used 20 incense sticks. I thought he's hitting me with a sledgehammer. So then he would open up the bundle, and that's when matching starts. Opening up the bundle, again, the reader knows nothing about you, zero. He knows your gender and your thumbprint name, and that is a real reader. And then he would look at the first leaf, as I do now, not that I'm capable of reading. And then he would look at it, and the most important information on that leaf that catches his eye, he would read out to you. For example, you're married, because this leaf belongs to a person who's married. If you are married now, this minute, you will say yes. If you're not married now, you will say no. That's simple. So only yes, no, right, wrong, correct, or incorrect answers should be given. Never more than a yes or no. Let's say, just for an example to make my point, let's say you are married now, again, hypothetically, but you're going through divorce. And when he says, oh, you're married, you would say yes, because you're still married now, even though you're going through divorce. No need to say, yes, I'm married, but I'm going through divorce. That is too much information, not necessary. And as long as you say yes to a statement, it's not a question, it's a statement, he stays on the leaf and goes deeper and deeper and deeper. If you say no to any statement, then obviously that's not your leaf. He flips it over and starts anew. There are no notes taken. He doesn't, take any notes at all. He just focuses on the leaf, and that's it. So it could be that he will ask you 10 times whenever he comes up with a new leaf, you're married, even though I already told him 10 times before, no, I'm not, or yes, I am, because he doesn't care. It's the most important information on that leaf. So saying yes to everything, and also needing to remember that it's a syllabic language. So he needs to know which direction to take the leaf, because for you to know that he found your leaf, he will then tell you, and that is the wow factor, which certainly was the wow factor to me too, blew my mind, really. He will tell you your first name, Cornelia. He will tell your mother's first name, your father's first name, your date of birth, your time of birth, husband if you have one, or several husbands, because I've been in many, many readings over the years where people had like 5 ex-husbands or wives, and many of them were mentioned on the leaf too.
Wow.
Siblings, if you have any, gender of the siblings, whether they're alive or dead. Kids, if you have any, gender of the kids, whether they're alive or not. You know it's you. It's mind blowing. It really is. I mean, to me, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I was stunned. And the one thing that people need to understand is it's a syllabic language written in a poetic way in symbols. It's very complex to get to the point where he can then read out to you your name from a language that's dead and syllabic. So in order for him to understand which direction to take the leaf, is he will tell you, he has to ask, does your name contain A, E, I, O, or U? For example, because that's one sound in Tamil, but it makes a big difference in English whether there is an O or an A or an I, you know. So that is why he needs to know which direction to take the leaf. And if you say no, none of it, well, then obviously that's not your leaf and it will flip over. So that is, in a nutshell, the matching process, by him reading out statements and you saying yes or no to the statement. And boom, when your leaf is found, he rattles it off all the information he's told you. First name of, your first name, parents' first names, siblings, kids, date of birth, time of birth, weekday of birth, your zodiac, your Vedic zodiac, all that thing. And I was sitting there stunned. I was like, wow, holy moly, how can that be? Because he told me our parents from 2 different continents, which is true. He has no clue who I am. To him, I'm just another white guy. I was born in one country, but then lived in another country, and now I live in another country, which is true too, because I was born, I grew up as a kid in Iran. Then I lived in Austria because we had to flee the country, otherwise they would have shot us. And then I moved to the US in Washington, D.C. And so it's like, wow, yeah, that's true. Absolutely true. So that is the matching part, where the reader not doing anything about you, but you can confirm it because you know it's you. And then the reading starts. So the whole purpose of doing the search and then doing the matching is to get the reading. Now the reading is based on 3 aspects. One, as the baseline, as I call it, your thumbprint name, which plays a major role in your life a lot. So that's your baseline, your genetic imprint, if you wish. Secondly, your overall energies at the time of the reading, not your mood, whether you had your morning coffee or not, makes no difference. It's your overall energies, because according to our system, a person's energies shifts every 6 months. And that is the reason why we as an institute search for up to 6 months, because whether your energies need to be right to receive the information. So you can be in a 6-month period where your energies are not open to receive information, and you can be in a 6-month period where you can. So energies, and last but not least, Vedic astrology, because the stars have an impact, the planetary constellation have an impact on us big time. And then the reader will give us a possible life trajectory from the moment you get the reading done, whenever that is, looking into the future as a life trajectory, possible likely life trajectory based on your energies and mindset and thumbprint as your steady baseline, and of course the stars, until there is no more writing on the leaf, and it comes in blocks of years, 2-3 year blocks. The no more writing on the leaf could mean the end of your life, but not necessarily. Now, very important things that I need to highlight here is, 1, no one's life is set in stone, period. These are, I get hundreds of emails a day. It's mind-blowing how big this whole thing has gotten. And people always ask the same things. So your life is not set in stone. So you do not need to be worried about, oh my God, he will tell me when to die. Well, yes, but based on the moment you get the reading. But the whole purpose of a reading is, in a nutshell, to help you create a better life trajectory for yourself after your reading. That's the whole purpose of a reading, to keep it simple. Because the reader tells you, from today's point of view, a very likely future, and then it's up to you to embrace what you were told and change and improve, have a better life trajectory, or not. Because another important fact is, because your life is not set in stone, you have free will and choice. You can still decide to jump out of the window, even though the reading tells you win $1 million a month from now. You got free will and choice, period. Life is way too complex to be set in stone. I know so. Otherwise, we'd all be puppets, and there is no reason for me to be here at all. So no one's life is in stone. You got free will and choice. And the whole purpose of a reading is to help you create a better life trajectory for yourself. All we can do is show you the water. You got to drink it yourself. Now, the reading is very intricate, goes deep. Not only comes it in blocks of years, we do so-called whole life reading. Whole life reading means we cover all aspects of life, aspects that are important to any human being: family life, kids, grandchildren, health, career, spirituality, money, you name it, the whole, so whole life, all of it. So from the moment you get the reading done until there is no more writing on the leaf. And you will be told the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good means energies are perfect, star constellation is perfect. Utilize it, because they will tell you that's a good period for X. Write a book, move, expand the business, change jobs, find a wife, have children, whatever. Whether you then end up doing it or not, again, you got free will and choice. It's up to you. But they will tell you this period is good for X. So that's the good. The bad or the ugly means we identify, or the reader can identify, blocked in your life. One should embrace those blocks that you're being made aware of at the time of the reading. Embrace them as a blessing, folks out there. Embrace them as a blessing, because now you know the blocks that you have and you weren't aware of it before. Don't shut down, because I've been in so many readings myself, and I will tell you why I'm in so many readings. They just freeze up, and then I have to wake them up. So that's the reason why I take a lot of time before the reading starts, making people aware of what the important aspects of a reading are. Once you know the blocks, you can do something about it, because, again, one of my little sentences, the secret in all of this lies in your thumbprint, but the magic in all of this lies in the homework that you've been given at the end of the reading. It's called the puja. And pujas, literally translated, mean healing ceremony, prayer ceremony. That's what they mean. And they come in primarily shape and form of reciting a mantra dedicated to a god or goddess in Hinduism. And each one of them is here to help you overcome a block identified in your reading. That simple. So if you have a marriage block, child block, money block, career block, health block, whatever that is, at the very end of the reading, that's the very last chapter in every leaf, on every leaf. It's called the puja chapter. The reader will then tell you what the leaf itself prescribes to you. That's your homework. That's something you need to do. So if we all can agree on one thing, that life in general is nothing more or less than energies. And if the energies flow, then boy, we'll have a great time. You're healthy, you find a husband or wife, you have kids, career is going well, all's dandy. But if the energies are off, then you get sick, you get tired, relationship is not going so well, maybe you cannot have the children that you want. It's just energies, that's at least what I figured in my life so far. And in a perfect life, then energies will be a perfect sinus curve. But many times it's not. It's a little jagged or all over the place. And what a reading does through the shape and form of a puja, helping you to streamline those energies again. So that's how you can overcome the blocks and obstacles identified in your reading. And as you change your energies through these pujas, you open up your system to receiving the energies that are good for you, so that you can create the better life trajectory for yourself. Again, it's self-responsibility, sixth chakra. So that is in a nutshell, the process, the reading, and the pujas. Now, one or two more things just to maybe highlight is when I said the secret lies in your thumbprint, all the leaves in a bundle have the same thumbprint name, which means your soul sisters, soul brothers, but you're not related to them at all, because each one of these bundles on the outside identifies itself which thumbprint name all the leaves in it have. That's important. But you're not related to them. It could be a gentleman in France, it could be a lady in Australia. They could already be dead or not alive yet. We do not know, but you all carry this name, which means you have similar life trajectories sometimes very similar. And you're like, oh my God, and yet it's not you. And that's why you need to have a good reader to find the actual leaf. And your thumbprint name carries a lot of meaning, which a good reader in our institute for sure will explain you what your thumbprint name means. It's usually 2, 3, or 4-part name, and each part covers either half of your life, a quarter of your life, a third of your life, if it's a 2, 3, 4, or 4-part name. And these energies are with you. It's neither good nor bad. It is you. You got to embrace it. And then once he explains your thumbprint name, boy, you understand yourself so much better, why things are the way they are. Neither good nor bad. It just is. So that's one thing that I wanted to share about the thumbprint name, which will be explained to you, at least in our institute, as the very first thing after establishing which one of these 18 Maharishis wrote your leaf, because they would be like, from a Catholic point of view, I guess, your guardian angel in a way, because they're and to which god or goddess he meditated to get the power of foresight. So these are watching you, guarding you, helping you. And then we explained the thumbprint name. And then the very end, which is the magic and all that, are the pujas. And the pujas are, even though a reading shall not be taken verbatim, absolutely not. It should be taken as a blueprint, a guideline, a compass, a map. Absolutely yes. Because then you can direct your life in the direction that you want, because you want to create a better life for yourself, whatever better means to you. To me, very simply put, when I had my reading, I just didn't want to be in a hospital anymore, period. I'm sick and tired of being sick and in hospital. Once you get tubes down your throat, and then I'm guarantee I had more than 1,000 needles in my veins, over 1,000. So my entire right arm is shot. They cannot do anything with it anymore. So I got 2 veins left on my left, because of the chemotherapy is very aggressive, and all these needles in your veins, they destroy your veins for future use. So to me, it was very simple. I just don't want to be in hospital anymore, and I haven't been in hospital since. So I'm grateful for that. But it could also end up meaning that you can extend your life. You can overcome health issues. You can find a partner, change your career, whatever that means. So better, just better. The pujas must be, unlike the reading itself, taken verbatim. They are very strict, time sensitive, and you must follow the prescribed pujas exactly as prescribed to you. No wiggle room, no moving about. Oh, I don't feel like it today, I'm going to swim around. And they might sometimes you might be like, why should you do it that way, or why can I do it that way? Well, just do it the way it's prescribed to you. To keep it simple, when I read a book that also really had a big impact on me way before I had my reading done, called The Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. I read it a few times actually, because it was fascinating by it. My background is Baha'i, and my father's background is Jewish, and my mom's Catholic. So I'm confusion in my head big time, but I have nothing to do with Hinduism at all. And when I hear about all these gods and goddesses walking in saints, that talks about saints that are alive, to Catholics, mine is like that doesn't exist at all. So I read it a few times, and it really opened my eyes toward a lot of things. And I remember when Paramahansa was talking about his guru, and by the way, guru is misinterpreted many times in the West. When we say, "Oh, my guru," guru is very important, because we also have all of our readers that we utilize in our institute are gurujis. That's an honorary title. Guru means teacher. That's what it means. But teacher with original thought. That is what makes a guru. Otherwise, you're a swami. Swami is also teacher, but no original thought. You need to be, it's an honorary title that is given to you by your peers. All the swamis around you, they say, "Oh my God, Swami X, you're amazing. You have original thought. We will call you guru from now on." And that is what makes a guru. So when Paramahansa, and at that time I had no idea what a guru means either, really, but now I do. Paramahansa was talking about his guru when he was a kid, and his guru was capable of healing people. Doesn't matter what disease they had, leprosy, cancer. And when he traveled with him throughout all these villages, and people were lining up, hundreds of them, and he would just look at them, touch them, and they're all healed. But he would give them crazy homework called pujas. He would tell, and he was describing some of them, and it blew my mind too, because he would say, his guru would tell this guy who had leprosy, "You now carry this raw egg in your left pocket for the next 5 weeks. After that, you're healed. Or you will only drink milk from using your right hand for the next 3 weeks." Something crazy. So Paramahansa then asked his guru, saying, "Why do you give these people such crazy homework? These pujas." He said, "Because I know you can heal them. You know you can heal them. You're an amazing human being. But how come you do that?" That way he said, "Well, very simple. I know it, you know it, but they don't know it. The moment they come and I give them healing energies, they need to absorb it and totally believe in their own healing. And the way they will manifest it is by doing a simple task of carrying an egg in their, a raw egg in their left pocket without cracking it. Of course, from today's point of view, when we're all Westerners, we have normal pants with pockets. But we need to think about these poor Indians over 100 years ago, where they maybe not had perfect pants with a pocket. So it was a challenge for them to keep that egg alive for quite some time. And by doing so, healing manifested in them, and then it became truly healed from their disease. And that's the same thing with the pujas that are prescribed to you in a palm leaf reading. You got to follow them verbatim, do as you're told. It's going to take you 6 to 9 months. Every week you're going to do something. And by the end of it, the energies will have shifted, will have changed. And as you shift and change your energies, you can then attract better energies into your life, so you can create a better life trajectory for yourself. And that is the power, the magic of the pujas prescribed to you. So I hope I haven't talked your ears off, because I can talk a lot about it. I've been doing it now ever since, I think 8 years now, for a long time. And to help people, Western people, by the way. And maybe it's interesting for you to learn why I did it, because I was blown away by my experience. So I told friends and family about this amazing experience without any thoughts, really given any thought. I just wanted them to have the experience too. And then we said, okay, well, let's go to India, because you got to go to India. Everything happens in India. Everything, the archives, the bundles, the readers, everything's in India. You cannot just transplant them. And that's when I realized that most Western people, because I'm a traveler, I'm a gypsy, I ran a big travel business myself, they wouldn't go to India, period. A regular Western person will not go to India. To most Western people, India is a no-go zone. To a few Western people, India is like, wow, it's like, I want to go there, live there, be an ashram, and so forth. But the vast majority will never go. So that was aspect one, which made me think of, can we do it online so these people still can get a reading without having to go to India? And that is, in the old days, we did Skype, Skype calls, and with amateurish in a way, just me helping a bunch of people. But the helping me of other people became work, and that they sent their friends, and at some point it's like, oh my God, I'm helping a person I've never even heard of, doing all that. And that is when we started to put it in a legal framework and get the institute to where it is today. And so I was sitting in many, many readings because they didn't understand the interpreter, the English, the Indian English, because the readers usually don't speak English. So you need to find an interpreter who sits next to the reader and interprets Tamil to English, or rather Hinglish, heavy accented in English. And I remember I was sitting next to them trying to help them, said, what did he say? What did he say? Well, they just didn't understand the Indian English. And that is why I repeated things. And that's how I got into it and understood more and more and more about it. And that's the reason why ultimately I've been in many, many readings ever since. So in our institute, when I started doing it, is help. For one, it took us a long time. And I'm also very grateful to my partner in crime, Emisha, who not only saved my life, because had she not put me on a train 10 years ago, I would be dead now. I would have collapsed in Budapest and nobody would have been there to help me. And with her, she's the one who told me, you got to get a reading. And now we work together in getting this to the West. So in our institute, we have a reader, and it took us quite some time to find the right readers that are ethical, really knowledgeable, and do it from their hearts more than anything else. But being a reader today obviously means not making big money, because it's a dying art. It really is, because what India is famous for now is IT centers and programming and call centers and IT and so forth. So many next generation readers are giving up what they were taught by father and grandfather and great grandfather for going up north and working for a big company. So I told my readers, I will heavily overpay you because I love what you do. It's an amazing thing. Just stick with us so we can help them and their families to continue doing what they're doing. And interpreters too, obviously. So we support quite a few families by doing so. We can, now that we've grown so much, I give back to orphanages in our town in India. There's an orphanage, CCW Trust, looking after disabled and humans, kids and adults, as well as orphans. There's one in Chennai, which is the capital city. also there. So I want to give back really. I personally have made $0 on this, by the way.
Wow.
I provide jobs, that's true, but I personally make zero money in doing this, which means I still have to have another job in order to be able to do what I do here. And so I now trained or have trained quite many so-called moderators, because I understood in the beginning that people don't understand the Indian accent. So in every call, every person gets a reading. There are 3 people helping you. The reader, who is the guy with the education, and it's only men, so that you understand why I only say he. Readers are male, and interpreters are primarily male, even though I know 1 female, but it's a sea of male and 1 female. Not in our institute, she doesn't work for us, but I know that she could be an interpreter. And a moderator, a Western moderator. So 2 people sit in the office that we have in India next to each other. And then we have a Western person called into the Zoom call, similar to how we do it. And the Western person's job, we call him a moderator, is to hold your hand from the beginning till the end. The matching and the reading take about 3.5 hours. First thing you would do is you would connect with a Western person, with one of our moderators. He and she will prepare you for it, so that you don't freeze when you hear a block, like a health issue, marriage issue, whatever that is, and then guide you through the whole thing, hold your hand, repeat things in a Western English so that you have an easier way of understanding what the message is. And then the moderator will say bye-bye to you too. So there are 3 people that are supporting you through this longer process of about 3 to 3.5 hours. First matching takes about 40-60 minutes. There's a break of 15 minutes. You can use bathrooms, smoke a doobie, get a cup of coffee, whatever you need to do to calm your nerves. I've seen it all because I've been in many readings myself. And then the reading part. And you can ask as many questions as you want about the reading or something that hasn't been read to you from the leaf. And then the pujas. The pujas we explain to you one more time, even though the Indian interpreter tells you what to do, and through the reader, or the reader through the interpreter. We take the time after the reading to explain you one more time. That's why, because it's so important and very complex, we tell you what to do. To then do it yourself, step by step. And you need to be prepared. It's a lengthy period. There could be some quote unquote funny ones too, if I may say so, because my own pujas were also, I must have been, they were like kind of life-changing, because the reader told me many mantras and chants and different gods and goddesses. But in between, I remember that's the time that I had moved to Budapest, Hungary. I don't speak Hungarian. I didn't know anyone apart from Emeshe. And the guy said, on 2 Wednesdays, feed the needy. That's what he said, feed the needy. And I'm like, feed the needy? What do you mean? Should I do soup kitchen? Should I donate money? Talk to a clochard on the streets? He said, you will figure it out. And I was sweating because, I'd moved to Budapest. I did not know anyone. And then the day before, literally the day before, the Wednesday that I had to do it, it dawned on me. I was in bed. It's like, oh, wow, that's what I'm going to do. Because I'd observed an elderly lady in the cafe that I still go to today as well when I'm in Budapest, that I thought has no money, or, not being well off. So then I told the waiter, look, I'm going to pay for her food. Just don't tell her. And having had that experience, wow, the most beautiful thing, because she didn't expect the small gift of somebody paying for her lunch, which cost me nothing. I don't remember, $10 or something. Really, it was not a big deal. And yet the surprise and the smile, and she was looking who did that. And when I observed her, not knowing that it's me, oh my God, it was maybe one of the most beautiful experiences in my entire life. So ever since that time, I do sometimes randomly pay people their cup of coffee when I think or I feel they have stress, or they're like, sometimes, couples get it, while they're lined up at Starbucks or Chowbacks or somewhere, then I just end up paying for the coffee. Oh my God, beautiful thing. I can only recommend everyone out there. Do it once in a while. It's the most beautiful thing you can do. And then another thing was give food, fruit, or candy to at least 5 children on Fridays, like 3 or 4 Fridays in a row. It's almost 10 years ago. I forgot. So I was like, wow, food, fruit, or candy to kids. I moved to Budapest. I'm a middle-aged white guy. If I just talk to a random kid, I might end up in a rest cell. So then I was like, how should I do that? I cannot just walk around and offer kids candy in Budapest. And that's also when it dawned on me, you know what? I'm just gonna call an orphanage in Budapest and a kindergarten. And I said, look, I'm not a weird, I'm not a crazy Western, foreigner being here. This is what I'm doing, and that's what I was prescribed to do. And here's a sack full of things, not just for 5 kids. I buy it for the whole class. Just give it to them on a Friday because I'm supposed to give it on a Friday. Did they say no? Absolutely not. They were delighted. I was like, oh my God, fantastic, wonderful. So I did this. Oh, it was 5 Fridays in a row. There we go. So that's what I did. So these are small things that you can do that bring you. It's a beautiful thing. Also for me, I must admit, and that is a physical act of puja, but primarily it's many mantras that you need to recite in sitting in front of a picture of a god or goddess. So that is a little more background information about pujas. Yes, madam, sure thing.
So, wow, that was a lot of information that you shared here today.
Sorry.
So how many shows have I done? I don't know, about 300 or something. And I think this is the first time where I've had someone talk through the whole time and I didn't ask any questions. You answered all the questions as they were coming. So it was fascinating to listen
Thank
to.
you.
I want to be able to tell the audience where they can go to check out your new institute, your institute, the
Sure.
social media handles where they can go and learn more about it. This is the first time I've ever heard about what you're talking about, and I've heard of a lot of different
Sure.
modalities. So please give us the social media handles.
Sure. First of all, our website is indianpalmleafreading.com. Indian, connected to India, palm leaf, nothing to do with your palm leaf, the hands of a palm, indianpalmleafreading.com. That's our website. We are on Facebook and we are on Instagram and YouTube, Indian Palm Leaf Reading. Just go on Instagram, Indian Palm Leaf Reading, go to Facebook, Indian Palm Leaf Reading, go to YouTube, Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute there. Then you will find us. By the way, if you're curious about how we conduct a reading online, we had many, and I'm actually overwhelmed how many were open to allow us to put their very private experience of matching and reading, which we record, of course, online on YouTube. And the very first lady who did it might be a great guest for your show too. Her name is Dr. Erica Minimus. She is a graduate of the quantum healing hypnosis technique of Julia Cannon's. She did a reading with us, and I met her at the Conscious Life Expo in LA, which happens every February. And she had a reading, and she said, you know what? Even though she had no clue what she was getting herself into, she said, sure, record it and put it online because I want people to experience it. All of it, like her crying, being overwhelmed that her leaf was found, all the intimate details. I said, no worries. Unedited, just put it on. And now I get 50, 60,000 people viewed it. And many more people have followed her example and allowed us to put their reading online too. So if you go to our YouTube channel, Indian Palm Leaf Reading Institute, you will find, I don't know, 6, 10 full matching and readings of actual people that are reading with us over the past several years.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I think
Yes,
that's
so then you know how it works, and it makes it quite easy for you. And the cost maybe is important too. We charge $100 for the search. So you put $100 down, then you get information from us. You need to submit your thumbprints then and send them to us through a secure server. And then the reader looks at your thumbprint, identifies your thumbprint category name, and then the search starts. You got to be patient because it's 6 to 12 weeks on average. It could be shorter, could be longer, but roughly 6 to 12 weeks. And once bundles have been found, you then can opt in to have the matching and the reading. That will cost $400. So $100 for the search, $400 for the matching and the reading. And then you can choose an appointment that you like. We offer reading 7 days a week.
wow.
Twice a day to cover the world. We have not only US folks or North Americans that come to us, Australians, New Zealanders, all over Europe, Russia, you name it. So over time, we had to figure out a good time that covers the world easily. So for East Coast folks, 6:45 a.m. New York time, once in a while you can get up that early. It's not even that early, 6:45 a.m. We start the reading. West Coast folks, 9:45 p.m. LA time. So for West Coast folks, it's going to be a late night, starting 10, finishing at about 1. East Coast folks, it's a morning thing, starting at 6:45, being done by 10-ish. It doesn't mean that an East Coast person cannot do 9:45 p.m. West Coast time, which would equate to 12:45 a.m. New York time. We have many who do that too, because then it's quiet for them, the kids are asleep, and then they can get a reading done too. So I'm just telling you, there are 2 times that we offer: 12:45 a.m. New York time and 6:45 a.m. New York time. And then we use a smart system that detects your time zone wherever you might be, from Australia all the way to South Africa. And then it converts to yours. But it's always 12:45 a.m. or 6:45 a.m. New York time. And
Well,
it's
I want to say that I think this was a very fascinating show. I have to close the show now because I'm on my way to do several other podcasts now.
thank you.
So I really find it very fascinating. Thank you so much for your passion, your
Thank you,
education,
madam. Thank
and
you.
a clearly a very enlightening information for people to use to get to know themselves better and deeper. So I want to thank you, Dr. Q, for coming on.
Thank you, Cornelia. I really appreciate you having me. It's
Yes,
been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I want to thank the audience for listening and tuning in, and go to some of the suggested social media handles. Check it out and go see if this is something that would serve you. All right,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We'll see
Namaste.
you again
Thank
next
you.
time. Take
You
care.
too. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
madam. Bye-bye.